In this video, I'll be sharing one of my methods for creating a large pattern for tracing using a standard printer. Hi, I'm Marion Dutton, and I'm asked all the time how to create patterns for tracing. Now, there are many ways in which to do this, but in this tutorial, I'm going to share a method with you which I've recently discovered and I've started using myself. Now, before we dive into this tutorial, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, as well as hitting that bell notification so that you get updated each time I upload a new video. Over the years as a professional artist, I've tried many different methods for enlarging a photograph, such as using a projector. Now, I found projecting was okay, but of course buying a projector is very expensive, and I often found my results were a little hit and miss, depending upon the quality of the photograph. I've also used different programs, but found them to be too complicated for a technophobe like myself. And I've also tried the grid method, which I just found too laborious and time consuming. You can of course use the freehand method, and I do love drawing directly and freely onto the canvas using charcoal because it's easy to erase. Or often I'll do a freehand burnt umber underpainting, and I'll attach a link to a tutorial where I demonstrate this method, and that's such a lot of fun to do. But I do appreciate that not everybody wants to learn how to draw, which of course shouldn't stop you from enjoying the painting process. Or, if you are a commissioned artist, the time it takes to draw out your portrait, your pet portrait freehand, isn't always covered in your prices. Recently, I've discovered Rapid Resizer, and I'll attach a link in the description below so you can check that out. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I use Rapid Resizer and how I've created this pattern to create and paint this beautiful Rottweiler. Okay, so let's dive into the tutorial. Now, I use an app called Photo Sketcher. Now, Photo Sketcher is actually a MacBook app. So if you don't actually have a MacBook, I'm going to show you what you need to do next. And all this really is so that we can actually turn our image into a pencil sketch. So once we've actually turned the image into a pencil sketch, we're then able to upload that into Rapid Resizer and adjust the sizes to whatever canvas we want to be working on. And again, I'll demonstrate all that as we progress through this tutorial. Okay, so if you don't actually have a MacBook, you simply need to go into Google and research on how to turn a photo into a pencil sketch. There are a lot of free apps on the website that you can try. And again, you really do need to do your research because I use the Photo Sketcher from Mac. I'm not 100% certain what would be suitable if you're using a normal PC. And I'd also be slightly inclined to stay away from the free ones just so that you're not inundated with loads of advertisements. Now, one that is paid for is PicMonkey, and I do know that that has a good reputation. So if you are on a PC, that might be one that you want to have a look at. Okay, so I've put the image of the Rottweiler onto my desktop just so that you can see where it is. And then I'm going to go and open up Photo Sketcher. Now, you can actually just drag and drop your photograph over the top of the Photo Sketcher app, but I'm showing you a different way as well. If you click to open, you can then select the photograph that you want, and as soon as you upload it, it turns it into a pencil sketch. Now here you can see I can adjust with these sliders, change the tone, light and darken, and do a few other things. And then once I'm happy, I will click save and save that tracing or save that pencil outline to my desktop. Usually I give it a name such as Rottweiler tracing or something along those lines. So now I've got the tracing image saved onto my desktop. So now if you click the link in the description below for the Rapid Resizer, it will take you straight to this page, and here you can sort of create, resize and print any of your designs. As you can see here, it says upload a design, enter any size, and it'll tile the image across the pages that you want. So let me demonstrate that by logging into my account and uploading the image, the tracing that we've already done of the Rottweiler. So this takes a minute or so to upload, and once it does, you can see how it tiles this across the number of pages. Now here is where you'll start to do all your adjustments. So you want to look at your width. You can change the inches to centimeters, and you can change all the different heights and widths, etc. Now I would always advise that you keep the box ticked for the proportional and only adjust one of the boxes. So for example, if your height is 18, if you've got the proportional box ticked, it will automatically adjust the width to be 20. So of course, if you don't tick the proportional box, you could end up where the image looked a little bit too skinny and disproportionate. So I would always recommend that you keep that box ticked and just adjust one of the boxes. So for me, I'm adjusting the height to get the size that I want, and I will let the width take care of itself. So here I'm dropping down to choose the different paper sizes. If you're lucky to have an A3 printer, then of course you'll use less paper. But most of us have a standard A4 printer. And of course, if you select that, then your image is going to be spread over more sheets of paper. So the dark blue images represent the actual sheets of paper, and the small dotted area represents how the image is spread across those pages. And there's a little pop-up box there explaining everything that's happened. So in this particular case, we've got 6 A4 sheets or standard printer sizes, and you can see how the design is going to be laid out over those 6 sheets. And again, if you switch then to an A3, of course your design is going to be spread over 2 sheets. Now I'm going to print both. I'm going to print it on A4 paper, standard printer paper, and also on A3 because I do have an A3 printer. And again, it's just to show you and demonstrate exactly what's going to happen. And of course, I'll then show you how I join everything together and trace and transfer that to a canvas. So once you hit that print button, it will take you to a preview page. And so then you can check all your settings and of course then hit print when you're ready. So we're now in my office, and as you can see, I've got 2 printers. I do use my printers quite a lot, so I invested in both. One is filled with A3 paper and the other one is filled with standard printer paper. Okay, so now I'm back in the studio and I'm going to begin to lay these all out so you can see how I actually connect them all together and begin to do the tracing. So the first thing you'll notice is the pages are numbered, so you'll have 1 of 1, 1 of 2 and 1 of 3, which basically means row 1, pages 1, 2 and 3, and then underneath it will start to say 2 of 1, 2 of 2, 2 of 3, and again that's for row 2, and this makes matching things up really easy. So once I've got everything laid out, we need a pair of scissors and some sellotape. So I would always advise you to do these one sheet at a time, and as you can see, the sheet that I've left down, I've left the border on the outside, but on the other sheet I'm going to cut that border away. Realign the sheet, placing the one that you've cut over the top of that border, and then take your sellotape and then sellotape those 2 joins together. I like to work from top to bottom, and always remember which border you're leaving down and which one you're actually cutting off. So if you work like this nice and carefully, it becomes quite straightforward. So as we begin to build the design together, taping it down where necessary, here on this middle one you can see that I can remove both the top border and the side border. And I'm going to tape across the top and also down the side to connect these 2 pieces together. Now in this final piece, you'll notice there's nothing actually printed on there, but I'm still going to add it as part of the design just so everything's nicely squared off. Once I'm happy with everything, I usually take a ruler and just remove some of the excess paper on the outer edges. So that was using A4 paper over 6 sheets. Now here you can see I've got it printed onto 2 sheets using A3 paper, and I'm going to do exactly the same. Remove one of the borders and leave one of them and tape everything together. So here you can see these 2 designs, they're both identical in sizes. So all we need to do now is to transfer that image over to our canvas, and I'm going to show you how to do that coming up next. So I'm going to use a couple of different canvases, different sizes, just so you can see how these tracings sit within a different canvas. So this is an 18 by 14 inch, and as you can see that fits very, very nicely, but it fills the entire space, which again is maybe what you're after, or you may want something that's got a little bit more room around it. So let's see how it looks on a 20 by 16 inch canvas. So you can see here we've got a little bit more space around, so if you wanted some kind of landscape showing in the background, then you would go for a size like this. So let's take a look at a 24 by 18 and see how our image sits within this size. And again, you can see we've got even more room around the dog. So again, if you wanted to create a landscape effect or a really nice blurry background, then this would be the choice you would use. And of course, with the Rapid Resizer, you can actually put any size canvas in there and just play around with how these images sit within the canvas space. And here you can see this is the original painting that I did of the Rottweiler, and I've gone for an 18 by 24 inch, and I've put the dog just slightly over to the left hand side so that there's plenty of space around him, and then I've created a really sort of abstract-y style landscape background. I've actually brought the body of the dog further down from the tracing as well and just soften those edges. So now for the tracing, we're going to need a red pen and a piece of charcoal. So you want to turn your image over and begin to take the charcoal and scribble all over the back. Once you've covered the back, you want to turn your sheet over and position it over the top of the canvas, obviously with the scribble side facing down. Now I'm using an old canvas here because it's just for demonstration purposes only. And once you've positioned your tracing where you want it, you're going to take some masking tape and tape all the way across the top. And also I like to tuck that under, and that way then you know that that tracing isn't going to move. And you can also then freely keep lifting that tracing up to check where you are with the progress. Take your time transferring this image, and I like to use a red pen so I can see exactly where I've been on my tracing. And because we've anchored that all the way across the top, I can keep lifting that up without worry of moving the sheet. So now you can see the traced image. I'm not going to do the whole dog, but again, hopefully this gives you a really good demonstration of how this works. But there is one more step to take. So once you're happy with your tracing, you've spent some time on that, you want to remove the tracing, but it is very, very important that you now fix that charcoal. Now you can use a pencil fixative, but I most often use hairspray, which works just as well. But you don't want to saturate your outline with the hairspray. You'll notice I'm very lightly and carefully spraying that onto my tracing, and I'm using the light, the reflection of the light, to see where I've actually been and where I've sprayed. Now you really do want a light coating, so once I've actually done a light coating everywhere, I'm going to dry that off with the hairdryer, and then I'm good to either go with acrylics or with oils. I really do hope you've enjoyed this insight into how I use Rapid Resizer to create a printable tracing using standard printers. And again, I've put the link in the description below so you can go and check that out all for yourself. Now, Rapid Resizer does have other programs on there too, but I simply bought the basic program because that was more than enough for my needs. But if you are a crafter, you may find some of the other programs are suitable for you as well. So do have a look at those. Now, if you are an artist and you are thinking about a commission-based business, but really think you might need to brush up on some of your skills, then do check out my online courses. I have a pet portrait course and a portrait course, and there's over 22 projects in each of those. I'm very proud to say that many of my students are actually running their own commission-based business after building up their confidence using the skills taught in these courses. Now, the debate whether tracing is cheating or not is something that will go on, and everybody has an opinion on it. And that is a topic for a whole nother video. I personally think that anybody should be able to enjoy art and to be able to enjoy creativity, whether they have the skills to draw or not. And tools like Rapid Resizer enable that. I've certainly enjoyed using it. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you again in the next video.